Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video, and we did the showcase with Shion. She's level 120. Rimuru was not as lucky with him as we were Shion, so he is only level 100, but level 100 is probably enough for him, because he is a DPS unit, strictly DPS, which means that he will be good in this meta, maybe on a few other teams, but will probably also fall off because supports are much more important in this game than true DPS units. But it is good that we finally get a dedicated Rimuru DPS unit, because it's the first fucking one since this game came out, because I don't really count Raphael because it's Raphael and not Rimuru, but that's, semantics right there. But Rimuru is light, is physical, on New Year's Blessing, Shizu's Will, Octagram Demon Lord, and Commander, which doesn't have a team yet. But Shizu's Will and Octagram Demon Lord do technically have teams, or at least ways that you can run him. Octagram Demon Lord is also, is the Visions of Coleus, Lumi. She can give 12% attack to him as well, which means technically you would have 2 rainbow units on that team. But let's talk about it. He also uses a light spear, which Bride Shuna uses and Bride Shion uses. So if you have either of them with, equipment, just yoink it off them. Rimuru is a single target physical light attacker for 490%. No additional effect, pure damage. His first skill is a 40% attack buff and a 60% weakness strike buff for 2 turns, which makes things quite easy to plan around, because you can have him up front and you use it and it won't go away the next turn. You could save it for multiple turns in the back if you want to. It is a very, very powerful skill for 40 points. His second skill converts his own orbs to rainbow orbs, Soul of Unity, just like the Visions of Coleus Rimuru, except he requires blue orbs that convert into rainbows. So they do have minor differences, but the rainbow orbs still are maximum protection gauge, max ult gauge, and max skill points all rolled into one, which makes it very good and very easy to get a lot of gauge, like an EX ult for Rimuru, very, very quickly. And then on top of that, because he's going to have his own orbs that are rainbow, you get extra 10% damage on those orbs, which is nice, because it means we'll do just a little bit more damage. It is still limited to once per turn, though, or once per battle, which again is kind of unfortunate, but I think based on our usage of Visions of Coleus Rimuru, we kind of understand why that's a thing. His Valor trait nerfs blue gauge, not really all that in a bag of chips. His actual trait, if you have dupes, is skill points every 2 turns, which on a burst team can come in very handy, especially since they're oranges that do not give a lot of skill points to begin with. So any skill points you can get on extra is always a good thing. And then his EX board gives him extra crit and synergy power with Diablo, who is a free-to-play unit, so it makes a lot of sense. And he's a self-buffer, because he's a DPS unit. But let's go ahead and take him into the beatdown and put him on a few other teams and see how well he runs with them. Alright, in an effort to make things, not quite the same, we're going to be using a different team setup for the current beatdown battle than what we did for Shion's showcase. So we're still going to bring Diablo, obviously, and Rimuru, because he's a showcase unit. We're going to bring the Hero 2.0, Space Violet, and Octagram Lumi. So we do have an alt swap now. It is to a green orb, but hopefully RNG treats us well, and we can just convert that green into an orange. Actually, never mind, because it's going to be a Rimuru orb, which we're then going to convert to a rainbow, of which it then doesn't matter what color it is. It's just going to be a rainbow Rimuru orb. We can get a little bit extra ult damage from Lumi, which we will see if it offsets the elemental buff that we had from Hinata. And then instead of the physical buff, we'll have the crit damage and ult resistance down from Violet. So if we can, get maybe 1 or 2 stacks of Lumi, we can get the light resistance down debuff and this. I think we should do either equal or greater damage than what we did during the Shion, which was about 1 million damage, which is good. Let's see if we can do better. Okay, so Rimuru will come in for the hero, and Lumi will come in for Violet. Lumi's getting protection gauge on turn 1, 2, and 3, so we'll get some next turn. She's got Dark Millum under her, so that's going to give us extra skill points next turn as well, which I think we'll be capped out. Actually, I don't know if we'll be capped out. But it'll give us quite a bit more to play with. Plus, we'll have the extra 30 coming from Shion. So we'll have 90 and like 96 points or something next turn. That's pretty good. Okay. Let's just pray that we get a decent hand here of Rimuru orbs. And then we can get a few stacks in. Perfect. That works out just fine, actually. So, the poison kicks in. Alright, that's fine. 94 points, sorry. So we'll get a stack here. We'll heal back everything from that poison. We'll get Diablo out for the hero. And actually, I wonder if we do that and that. So if we do this, this is the 50% gauge increase for New Year's Blessing character orbs. And he's going to be... No, you know what? Does it really matter, though? Yeah, we'll use it anyway. I don't think we've used it on this turn before now. So now we'll get him out for the hero. So we're only going to have 3 New Year's Blessing orbs, which is Rimuru's, which is still going to get a lot of gauge, so that'll work out. So we'll swap the alt. We'll turn his to rainbows. We'll use Shion to turn the rest of them to oranges and give us the crit pierce. And then next turn we'll have the EX alt. We can do maybe another stack of Lumi, and we have we can use his attack buff now and send him away, because the Diablo debuff, the hero debuff, and then the Violet buff need to be applied the same turn. So we're gonna need more than a few points actually. So let's do another stack. Boom, a little bit of a heal, and then the Rimuru buff, and then he can go away. And we'll bring in Diablo, I guess. And then we'll just play to have as many points as possible. So what are we going to need? We're going to need 80 plus 50, so we'll need 130 points, right? Yeah, so if we can max out this next turn, I think we're good. And I think we can nuke on turn 4. Okay, and we'll have, what, 20%? Yeah, 20% alt damage. So, I mean, this is pretty good. If we push another turn, we could probably get another stack of Lumi, which, you know, nuking turn 5 is not bad. But let's see what we can do in 4 turns here. Perfect. Okay, so the hero is going to... Yep, 130. So we're going to lower the resistance there. Oh no, we already used Diablo once, so we won't have the crit resistance. Okay, well, maybe we use that later. Okay, well, lessons learned. So let's at least do the debuff here. It also increases our normal orb damage by 50%, which Rimuru with all these buffs is going to do a lot of damage with with that little bit of a buff. Let's bring you in, and then let's bring Violet in for the hero since she's been used already. We'll do the crit damage and alt resistance down, and then we'll activate Shion. And let's see if we can break like 1.1 million here or something with Rimuru. Let me turn on his animation because we haven't seen it today. Okay. I kind of want to see how much a normal orb does. How much health do you have? 303? Yeah, let's do a normal orb and then let's do the alt. 81k, alright. And then the alt does look good. He's smacking people with a paintbrush. Well, not really. He's hyper beaming people with a paintbrush. Can we do 1.1 or 1.2 even? 864. Okay, it's quite a bit less. We didn't have the crit resistance down buff though from Diablo, so we are missing a little bit. Okay, not quite as much damage. I don't think that 20% would have mattered too much. I think we would have hit like 920k or something around there. Definitely not a million. Okay. So, a little bit of... Maybe if we pushed another turn and got another stack of Lumi, probably would have hit that. In fact, I kind of want to test it out. I'll come back with just the cut. Okay, we are back. Turn 5. We have enough points. We have the EX alt. We have Shion, so we can go ahead and use the debuff and debuff. That leaves us with exactly 80. And then we can use the Violet buff as well. And now we will see how much damage we do, because we've also had a third stack of Lumi. So we will be quite a bit more powerful because we have an extra 20% alt, and we have the 20% crit resistance down on top of that. So this should go pretty well. I do think we'll break 1 million. I don't know if we'll actually break like the 1.1 or 1.2 barrier though, unless like Rimuru is like 120, which he's not. So high hopes here. High hopes. Turn 5 is still very good. And I have no orbs for him, so let's just see how much damage he does. He does 1... Okay, he's equivalent. So that's about equal to bringing the second anniversary Hinata and Guy, or Hinata and Fountain of Wisdom Rimuru. This requires a bit more setup, which makes it, I think, not as viable. So, but it's still, it's 1 million damage in 5 turns is good for a burst team, right? This isn't stacks on stacks on stacks. So, okay. Rimuru can put up good numbers in his own meta. Who'da thunk? Let's move him somewhere else and see how well he performs as a generic DPS. All right, let's put him on the old Light 2.0 Pierce team. So we've got Bride Shizu. She's stacking Pierce rate. Rimuru, Groom Rimuru, is buffing greens and orb changing. Isis is orb changing and green buffing. The hero is rewinding, giving crit. Old Light Leon is giving that element buff, and then Rimuru himself will give the attack buff, the weakness strike, and the rainbow orbs, which will allow us to cycle quite a bit. So in theory, this team should work. I think it should work very well, actually. Okay, got a good starting hand right here. We'll use the Isis orb change. I didn't bring the skill point units. Oh well, my bad. But we'll go ahead and bring in Rimuru for Isis, actually. Let's... yeah, for Isis. Because I want the protection gauge off the Groom Rimuru still. Go ahead and just send these. Perfect. That gets a lot of his gauge. Okay. And then new Rimuru comes in. Guard. Alright, cool, whatever. And we get... we get an okay number. Do we rainbow here? I kind of want his EX ult, and I don't really think that's going to get it. Without getting more orbs. Damn, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more than that. I mean, I guess we could just see how much a normal ult does. We don't have to get the EX ult to make this work. So, let's go ahead and rewind. We'll rainbow. So rewind, we'll turn his orbs into rainbows, plus the extra damage right there. And we can bring in Isis for the hero. Use her green buff, because we're going to convert, and then we'll use the Pierce debuff as well. So that's a lot of excess gauge coming off of these green orbs now. So Shizu, boom. We've also used quite a bit of skills, which means we're slowly stacking up her Pierce rate. It's almost at 100% already, which is really good. And now the greens have protection gauge, full gauge, and alt gauge increase. So we're going to get a lot off of this. And the rainbows almost get his EX ult. Hopefully next turn we get a few more orbs for him, actually, off the rewind. And then we can get his EX ult, and then we can go ahead and nuke fairly well. Okay, the counterattacks. You gotta stop. You gotta stop with that. Alright, give me some Rimuru orbs that I can convert with Shizu. New Rimuru orbs. That works. Okay. We can work with that. So let's do this orb change just for funsies. His buff lasts for 2 turns, so we can use it now. I think he'll kill Xion if we just send it, though. So we're going to have to send it on Shinsha to ensure that she doesn't die. But now we are capped out. We have 5% pierce rate. Doesn't really matter. But yes, there's the EX ult, max points, another gauge. Perfect. And please don't die. 28k. All right. Not bad. Final hit. Guarded. All right, cool. But now we have the EX ult. His buffs will still be active next turn. So we can, let's see, we can use the light buff and then send him away. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll do this. We'll use the light buff now. Put that on him. We'll send him away for the hero. So the next turn, we can come in and use the hero buff alongside all the other buffs, and we could just annihilate. So let's just, we just need 55 points, right? Yeah, let's just do this. Doesn't really matter. Cool. And now we shall see the damage in 4 turns on a very, very old Tempered Edge stage when we have full buff going on. So Leon can come out of here. We don't need him anymore. The hero will use her crit buff. And we're going to completely destroy, I think, everybody. So let's go ahead and use Shizu. Give ourselves the guaranteed pierce rate, plus the little extra 10% attack buff, or alt damage buff. And we'll send this on Xion, and then we'll follow up with everything else. Let's see how much damage his normal orb does, too. Alright, so 313,000 damage. Get fucked. Alright, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for some pretty basic buffs, right? The hero is old, Leon is even older. Rimuru obviously has his own buffs. I'd call that pretty good damage right there. And he left her with a nut tap of health. Okay, well, there we go. He followed up. He finished the job. So yeah, put him on the burst pierce team. Weird. He works on a burst team. It's almost like he was meant to be used on a burst team. All right, let's move on. All right, time to use New Year's 2023 Rimuru with the New Year's 2022 meta, the Light 3.0 team with Protector Shuna, Raphael, and Lumi. So we took out New Year's Milim from last year because Rimuru already has an attack buff. It does take away our, a blue converter from Milim, but with Rimuru's Rainbow Orbs, I feel like that's a decent trade-off. The only unit I'm really questioning here at this point is Blanc, because Blanc is good for alt swapping, great, but Rimuru already has Weakness Strike. It's not as good as 100% because it's only 60, but it's still Weakness Strike. So we're only gaining a little bit there. And then her other part of that skill is the Synergy Resistance down, which we're not doing the Synergy buff. So good viability as terms of utility, not so good as far as min-maxing damage output, but this team should still run fine because she's got that triple alt swap ability. So let's see. His stats did go down a little bit because this is a magic team. We're going to go into EX5 Veldora, who has a lot of resistance against physical. So we'll see how this works out. We'll see if we can just straight up overpower him with the power of stacking Shuna and Raphael. Okay, let's see how this goes. We'll bring Rimuru in for Raphael, I think? Yeah, because Raphael's trait doesn't kick in until turn 3. We're going to have, turn 2, turn 2, turn 2 protection traits, so not really necessary for them to have anything up here. Let's swap out... let's swap out Lumi. Use Megumin's Orb Change, cover that side, and now we're off to the races, essentially. As long as we can get a good turn 2, I think that's what's important. 6,000, 3,000. Yeah, he is very heavily nerfed in this stage because he is physical, but we're going to try and make up for that. Perfect hand. All right. So let's do another orb change here. Or actually, whose orbs are these? They're Blanc's orbs. Okay, never mind. Let's do that. And sometime in this fight, we will use the rainbow buff, probably to get his EX ult quickly when he happens to have a lot of orbs. So we'll try and make that work as best as possible. We'll bring Raphael in now for Megumin. We just don't want her ult, really. We don't want Megumin's ult. I don't want to play around with it. Even though we have Blanc, it's just such a hassle, Megumin's ult, because of her self-stun. True to character, and also true to character, it's stupid annoying. So, oh well. We will not send new Rimuru last this time, because he's not going to do nearly as... Oh, he's doing 1 damage. That's a good sign. He does have high defense, he does have physical resistance now, so I guess it shouldn't really be... Okay, this is actually a good turn to use his Rainbow Orb, because we have a bunch of greens, and normally we wouldn't be able to do anything about that. However, we are able to do something about this, because he's going to turn all his orbs to Rainbow, which is 3, which leaves 1 green, and we have... Lumi here to take care of that. So Blanc will come out. She has no orbs anyway. We will use the rainbow, and then we'll use the Lumi orb change. Rainbows, green, perfect. And now we're looking real nice. Maximum gauge, max points. He has the EX ult now, so apart from getting stacks of Shuna, he's ready to go. So, and we can use his buff early as well, so we don't need as many points on the nuke either, which just makes things a lot easier. Alright. So he does a magical 1 damage. Awesome. Okay, well that's not a great hand, but can we do anything about that? Actually, can we do anything about this? I don't think we can. No, because we don't have Millum. Ah, crap. Damn it. Foiled. We may have to pass on the turn. Lumi can change those. Megumin can change 2 of the oranges. We could alt swap, which would leave just the 1 orange orb left. So you know what? That is quite unfortunate. Okay, let's you know what? Let's bring Blanc in now for Raphael. We'll just send these, and hopefully next turn we can get a decent hand, and we can swap with Blanc. Yes, fine. That works. It's painful, but it works. All right. Alt swap. Boom. Green orb. Boom. Megumin, get in here for Lumi. Sure. Orb change. All right, we're back on. We're back up, guys. Okay. How much? So, does his physical debuff leave on turn 8? Or his physical buff and his defense? I think it does. I think it does. Think being the keyword. Alright, so we got another stack here. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get that last one. I feel like... Oh, if we had brought in Lumi for Rimuru, we would have gotten it. Or we would have been a little bit smarter with that. Oh well. Alt swap. Boom. We can use Megumin's orb change again. I mean, we're going to get double stack here now, which is good. You know, we're still climbing. We're still getting stacks on Rimuru. That's the important part. But will he actually do enough damage with all these buffs to make a difference? Because we know by coming in here with Otherworld Legend Veldora, with Blanc, we can do a butt ton of damage with a magic light unit. Haven't had a lot of physical light units, especially single targets, right? At all, really. The hero, Veldora, is a single target technically, but he's a weird unit. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. He's a weird unit. He doesn't fit in his own meta. I don't know what they were smoking with those last two. Furry Shuna and Veldora. I get what they were going for. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, really? Really? Okay. So we're at max points. We're coming up on turn 8. His defense and physical buff do leave. So let's see if EX Rimuru can kill... Oh, ow, 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 ow. Jesus. Hey, suck a dick. Alright. One more stack. How many stacks are we up to now? We're, to, what, 9 stacks? I think so. Okay. So let's get the alt buff and his own buff. Boom. And boom. We'll bring Lumi in so we can drop the stun resistance on Veldora. Light buff. Boom. And then we will bring Raphael in for the stun and the pierce. Now, this Rimuru is on New Year's Blessing, and the old Raphael is skill fused, which means that he is giving New Year's Blessing category 40% stun strike. So that does work out pretty nicely. So he will get that extra 40%. In, you know, if Raphael wasn't skill fused, no one would be getting that except for him. So let's see if we can do 1.6 million damage right here with EX Raphael, or not Raphael, but Rimuru. And we'll turn the animation back on, because this is the last battle of the video. So let's send some orbs first, just to see how much damage those do, and then we'll send the nuke. So 100k. Okay, that's not bad. And then his ult, can it do 1.6 million damage? Can it? I actually kind of have my doubts. This team is really good, but he's physical. 1.9. Okay, so we cleared it. Only by a little bit, quote unquote, because, you know, if we had Blanc in this scenario, she'd have done like 3 million, and she would have annihilated Veldora. But we were still able to kill because of the power of stacking Shuna. So, definitely a good showing. He got that extra stun strike. Awesome. This team, weird, still works to this day. Still one of the best stacking teams that has ever released. It shits all over Fount of Wisdom, and I honestly think it does better than Warrior's Mind, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it runs a lot smoother than that team. But yeah, so there we go. There is New Year's 2023-2024 Rimuru. Overall, I think he's a solid option, because he is, at his core, a very, very generic single target unit who has very generic and basic buffs. And I think that's how I will view this entire meta, is that it's very basic, right? 3 and 3 orb changing to 6 oranges. Yeah, we've seen that now 4 times on orange protectors. Guaranteed crit and guaranteed synergy, that's a lot of power, but Protector Xion doesn't do anything super duper incredibly amazing, like making your team invincible, or giving vengeance counterattack, or, you know, I don't know, other things of that nature. Like, it's not something brand spanking new we've never seen before. It's just extra power, which is good and bad in some ways depending on how you view it. And this Rimuru, attack buff and weakness strike, these are basic things that they really can't nerf unless they actually put an attack debuff on you. Like pierce resistance, crit resistance, doesn't matter. You can put him on any team and he'll work. And then his rainbow orbs are good for getting you out of those weird, sticky situations like we just had in that last stage where we didn't have a way to change those 4 greens, but the rainbow orbs came in and not only changed them, but also gave him his EX ult. So I think he will be a solid option for a lot of newer players to take on most of the content in this entire game, minus, you know, random reruns of other beatdown battles where he's not meant to be used there. Like, he'll take out Conquest Millum, he'll take out anything in Crucible, he'll clear Tower of Isis, he'll be pretty good in Valor Cup alongside the Xion, even though he's single target. Like, you can clear most things with this Rimuru, by all means. He's generic, but also being a generic DPS will leave you open for maybe some power creep in the future when we get more dedicated DPSs like we have seen before, and support units that, you know, do what he does already, which makes him kind of irrelevant because they're already giving those buffs. So the New Year's team for 2023 is good, a little basic, which is fine because honestly, I think most people can skip this meta if they have a good team already. If they have teams that can clear 99% of content in this game, I think you should save. But that's just me. Rimuru and Xion are still very, very good at what they need to do. But let me know what you guys think. That's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you all later.